479 BCE. On the plains of Boeotia, a Greek army surrounds a fortified camp. Inside, thousands of Persian soldiers, defeated, defenseless, waiting. What happened next wasn't a battle. The fighting had already ended. This was something else entirely. In history classes, they teach you about the 300 Spartans at Thermopylae, the heroic stand, the noble sacrifice. But they don't tell you that 11 months later, 10,000 Spartans returned with the largest Greek army ever assembled. They don't explain what revenge meant in the ancient world. They don't describe what happens when an entire civilization decides mercy is no longer an option. On the plains of Plataea, as the sun set, bodies would be counted not in hundreds, but in tens of thousands. And the survivors, the remaining 3,000 soldiers from an army exceeding 100,000, would carry home to the Persian Empire a message that would echo for generations. This is the story of how ancient Greece answered Thermopylae, and why even the victors struggled with what they had done. August 480 BCE, the narrow pass at Thermopylae. King Leonidas lies dead on the ground, his body mutilated by order of Xerxes, head severed, crucified, displayed as a warning. Around him, 300 Spartan warriors, 700 Thespians, 400 Thebans, all dead. The Persians hadn't just killed them, they'd made examples. Xerxes orders the Greek corpses stripped, left to rot in the summer heat. For 3 days, his army marches past the decomposing bodies. A lesson, a demonstration. This is what happens to those who defy the King of Kings. But Thermopylae was never designed as a victory. It was a transaction, lives given in exchange for time. And as Persian forces advance south through Greece, the question becomes, what will that time purchase? September 480 BCE, Mardonius, Xerxes' most trusted general, pushes the Persian army through central Greece. City by city, the advance continues. Thespia razed to the ground, every building, every temple destroyed. The population had fled, but their homes reduced to ash and rubble. Plataea receives the same treatment, systematic destruction, not just conquest, but erasure. Then comes Athens' turn. The Persians enter an evacuated city. The civilian population fled weeks earlier to Salamis and the Peloponnese. Left behind, empty streets, abandoned homes, and the temples on the Acropolis. The Persians set everything ablaze. The Parthenon, ancient even then, burns. The temple of Athena Polius, housing sacred relics dating back centuries, is demolished. The fires burn for days. When they finally die, Athens is nothing but a charred memory on a hill. This wasn't ordinary warfare. This was systematic cultural annihilation. The Persians were erasing Greece from the earth. But then, at Salamis, in the narrow strait between mainland and island, the Greek navy springs its trap. The massive and overconfident Persian fleet becomes unable to maneuver in confined waters. Greek triremes ram, capture, and sink ship after ship. By sunset, Persian naval supremacy lies shattered. Xerxes, watching from his golden throne on shore, sees his invasion plans dissolve in fire and seawater. Within days, he makes his decision. He'll withdraw to Persia with half the army. Let Mardonius finish the job with the rest. The message is clear. This war should have been over already. End it. 480 to 479 BCE, winter months. Mardonius withdraws his army to Thessaly and Macedonia, northern Greece already under Persian control. His strength still exceeds 100,000. Persian infantry, cavalry, and most importantly, Greek allies, Thebes, Thessaly, Macedonia, cities and regions that chose submission over resistance. Winter passes differently in Sparta. Pausanias, nephew of the dead Leonidas, is declared regent. Young, lacking major command experience, but carrying the weight of his uncle's death. Around him, the Spartan council debates. Some advocate caution, others immediate action. But there's a third option, never spoken aloud in council chambers, but present in every discussion. What kind of victory are we preparing for? Because by spring it's clear this war has become about more than survival. The Greeks held. They won at Salamis. Now they have a choice about what comes next. Spring 479 BCE. Mardonius tries diplomacy first. He sends Alexander I of Macedon, technically a Greek but subservient to Persian authority, to Athens with an offer. The terms are generous, almost too generous. Complete reconstruction of Athens. Persian gold will rebuild every temple, every home. Territorial expansion, additional land, favorable trade status, autonomy within the Persian Empire, self-governance. As long as Athens acknowledges Persian supremacy, all they have to do is abandon the Greek alliance. The Athenian assembly gathers in their temporary shelters on Salamis. They're living in tents and commandeered houses. Their city lies in ruins across the water. Everything they owned turned to ash. The Persian offer would solve every immediate problem they face. They refuse. The Spartan envoys present at the meeting report that the Athenians didn't just refuse. They threatened to execute anyone who would even suggest accepting the offer. One assembly member who spoke in favor of the terms was stoned to death by the crowd. His wife and children murdered by Athenian women who dragged them from their homes. Message sent to Mardonius: there will be no negotiation. Mardonius responds with action. His army returns to Athens, still abandoned, still empty. Whatever partially survived the first burning, this second wave of destruction finishes. Buildings that escaped the initial flames are systematically demolished. Wells filled with rubble. Agricultural land salted. This fire is different. This isn't conquest. This is punishment. When the Persians withdraw again, Athens is reduced to scattered stones and ash, 2 complete destructions in less than a year. Mardonius withdraws to Boeotia, to the plains near Plataea. He chooses his ground carefully. The Asopus River provides water and a defensive line. Behind him, Thebes, allied to Persia, offers a secure base. Most importantly, the flat plains favor his cavalry, the Persian army's greatest advantage. He builds a fortified camp, wooden walls, defensive positions, supply stocks, then waits. The challenge is implicit. If you want to finish this, come to terrain that favors us. Athens sends urgent messages to Sparta. Either march now or Athens will have no choice but to accept Persian terms. Sparta hesitates for weeks. The Isthmus of Corinth is fortified. The Peloponnese is defensible. Why risk everything in open battle? But then Pausanias makes his move. He mobilizes not just Sparta's army, but the entire military strength of the Peloponnesian League. 5,000 Spartan hoplites, full strength, every combat-ready Spartan citizen. 5,000 perioikoi, free residents of Sparta-controlled territories. 35,000 helots armed as light infantry. An unprecedented number of these semi-slave laborers mobilized for war. The Spartans march north, gathering allies from every city. Corinth, Megara, Sicyon, Epidaurus, Troezen. The Athenians join from Salamis, 8,000 hoplites, all their remaining military strength. When the combined Greek army reaches the hills above the Persian camp, their numbers approach 110,000. This is the largest Greek army assembled in recorded history. The Greeks position themselves on the slopes of Mount Kithaeron, overlooking the plain where Mardonius waits. For anyone understanding ancient warfare, the tactical situation becomes immediately clear. The Greeks hold the high ground. Hoplite phalanxes, locked shields, long spears, devastating in frontal assault but requiring solid ground. The slopes provide both this and the advantage of charging downward. The Persians dominate the plain. Their cavalry can maneuver freely on flat terrain. Their archers can rain arrows. But attacking a hoplite formation uphill would be suicide. Neither side can attack without abandoning their advantage. So they wait. Third day of the standoff. Persian cavalry probing Greek positions ventures too close. An Athenian hoplite unit supported by archers engages them on the lower slopes. The clash is chaotic. Wheeling horsemen, defending hoplites, arrows flying. Then an Athenian arrow strikes the horse of Mecistios, the Persian cavalry commander. The animal collapses. Mecistios, in ornate golden armor, tries to fight on foot. Athenians swarm him. Persian cavalry tries to rescue, but the Athenians have already dragged Mecistios into their own lines. They strip his armor piece by piece, stabbing repeatedly through gaps until he stops moving. When the Persian cavalry finally withdraws, the Athenians have a trophy: the golden armor and body of Mardonius's cavalry commander. They parade Mecistios' corpse on a cart along the Greek lines. Every soldier passes to see. Morale soars. On the Persian side, lamentations echo from across the plain. The entire cavalry mourns, heads shaved, horses' manes cut, armor removed in grief. Mecistios wasn't just a commander. He was Mardonius's friend, his most trusted officer. The psychological balance shifts. Days pass. Skirmishes continue, but no major battle. Then Mardonius makes his move. Persian cavalry finds the Gargaphia Spring, the Greeks' main water source, fed by an underground flow in the slopes. Under cover of darkness, Persian horsemen reach the spring and systematically destroy it. They fill it with earth, debris, and corpses, both animal and human. They divert the flow, poison what remains. By morning, 110,000 Greek soldiers have no water. Greek commanders convene. Pausanias, Athenian general Aristides, Corinthian commanders, facing an impossible situation. Stay and die of thirst within days. Withdraw to new water sources and risk being caught in the open by Persian cavalry, or attack on unfavorable terrain and be slaughtered by arrows and horsemen. Pausanias orders a complex night maneuver. The Greek line's center will withdraw to a new position near Plataea, where other springs provide water. The left wing, Athenians and allies, will pull back to a different high point. The right wing, Spartans and Tegeans, will hold position while the others move away, then withdraw. This should be a coordinated, controlled redeployment. Instead, it descends into chaos. In the center, Allied units panic. Night withdrawals are nearly impossible to control, even under ideal conditions. Units lose formation. Commanders lose contact with their men. Some groups go too far back. Others stop in wrong places. At dawn, the Greek army is scattered across several miles. Units separated, the unified battle line fractured. Mardonius watches from his camp as dawn reveals the Greek positions. What he sees: Greeks in withdrawal, broken formation, soldiers spread across the plain. What he doesn't see: that the Spartans on the right wing deliberately maintained order, that the Athenians regrouped at their new positions, that this is a badly executed maneuver, not a rout. Doesn't matter. This is the opportunity he's been waiting for. Mardonius orders a general advance. The Persian army pours from the fortified camp in waves. First, the elite Persian infantry, the immortals, lightly armored but highly trained, equipped with short spears, swords, and wicker shields. Behind them, infantry units from across the empire: Medes, Bactrians, Indians, Sakas. On the flanks, cavalry remnants still strong despite Mecistios' loss. In the rear, Greek allied forces from Thebes and other cities holding with Persia. Mardonius himself advances near the front lines, visible in his distinctive armor, encouraging his men. The target: the Spartan right wing, apparently in withdrawal, appearing vulnerable. Pausanias watches the Persian advance. His 10,000 Spartans and Tegeans had been slowly withdrawing, maintaining order but appearing to flee. Now he gives the order: halt. The Spartans stop, straighten their lines, and turn to face the approaching Persians. Their bronze-faced phalanx locks into position. 8 ranks deep, shields overlapping, spears extending in rows. But there's a problem. Greek religious protocols require favorable omens before battle. Priests reading sacrificed animal entrails report negative signs. Repeatedly, Pausanias orders new sacrifices. Repeatedly, the omens say, "Do not advance." The Persians enter arrow range. Thousands of Persian archers begin volleys. Arrows rain onto Spartan lines. Men fall, struck through gaps in armor, exposed flesh. Shields provide some protection, but arrows come at angles, finding weak points. Spartans die standing in formation. Religious law forbids advance. Withdrawal without breaking is impossible. Pausanias orders more sacrifices. Omens remain negative. More Spartans fall. Finally, whether the omens change or Pausanias simply decides to act, the order comes. Advance. The Spartan phalanx doesn't run, it walks. Each man maintains position, shield locked with neighbors, moving as a single armored mass. The Persians, still raining arrows, prepare to receive the charge. They plant their wicker shields in the ground, forming a defensive wall, bracing their short spears. The phalanx hits this line like a bronze wave. The first impact is devastating. Spartan spears, 8 feet long, designed for downward thrusting, punch through wicker shields, pierce lighter Persian armor. The forward push of 8 ranks of men collapses the Persian front line. But the Persians don't immediately scatter. What follows is close quarters fighting of a type most Greeks never experience. Persians try to grab Spartan spears, break them, pull them aside. They fight with swords and daggers, trying to get inside spear reach. Some grab spear points with bare hands, their hands shredding but creating openings for comrades. For a time, minutes that feel like hours, the outcome is uncertain. The Persians are less heavily armed but fighting with desperation and outnumber the Spartans. Mardonius fights in the front ranks. Sources describe him on a white horse, surrounded by his 1,000 elite Persian guards, the army's finest warriors. The fighting around him is intense, savage. Persian guards die one by one, brought down by Spartan spears, but they exact a price. Spartans fall too. Then, in the chaos, Mardonius goes down. Different sources give different accounts. A stone thrown from Spartan lines striking his head, a spear thrust reaching him through his guards, or simply crushed when his horse is killed. What's certain? Mardonius, commander of all Persian forces, dies in the confusion. The effect is immediate. Word spreads through Persian ranks. Mardonius is dead. The commander, the king's chosen representative, the invasion's architect, gone. The Persian center begins to waver, then breaks. When a phalanx breaks an enemy line, what follows is more pursuit than battle. The Persians flee. Some head for the fortified camp. Others scatter across the plain, seeking any escape. Greek light infantry and cavalry, held back in the initial clash, now surge forward. The real slaughter begins here. Heavy armored hoplites are relatively slow, but helots, peltasts, horsemen can catch fleeing men. They catch them in the open, exhausted, separated from formations. The Plataea plain becomes an abattoir. Meanwhile, on the Greek left, Athenians clash with Theban forces fighting for Persia. This battle is more balanced. Greeks fighting Greeks, similar equipment and training. The Thebans hold longer, fight harder, but eventually, when news of the center's collapse reaches them, they too withdraw. Thousands of Persians reach the fortified camp and take shelter behind wooden walls. Inside, supplies, treasures, Mardonius's personal wealth, and the army's non-combatant elements, servants, camp followers, some officers' families. The camp is defensible, the walls are solid. If the Persians can hold, they can regroup, establish defense until reinforcements arrive. But the Greek army surrounds it. For a time, the Persians hold the walls. Greek forces, primarily Spartans and Peloponnesians, try to break through the gates and are repulsed. Spartans, trained for open-field combat, struggle with siege warfare. Then the Athenians arrive. More experienced in various types of warfare, the Athenians find a weak point in the fortified camp's defense. They mount a coordinated, concentrated assault on a section of the wooden wall. The wall collapses. Greek forces pour through the breach. What happens next is documented in multiple Greek sources written decades later. The details are consistent, though tone varies by author. Inside the camp, organized Persian defense collapses almost instantly. Soldiers already demoralized from battle, trapped, exhausted, cannot mount coordinated resistance against the Greek army now flooding through the broken walls. Greek forces move systematically through the camp. They take no prisoners. Every Persian soldier found is killed. Sources describe Greeks moving between tents through supply areas into every corner of the fortified space. Where resistance occurs, it's brief. Non-combatants, servants, camp followers, families, fare no better. Ancient warfare had conventions about such things. Armies sometimes spared civilians, enslaved them, used them for ransom. This wasn't that. Herodotus, writing about this event, doesn't go into details. He simply states the result. Of the Persian army at Plataea, numbered at over 100,000, approximately 3,000 survive. 3,000. The remaining 100,000 men, dead by nightfall. Modern historians debate these numbers. Ancient sources frequently exaggerated army sizes. Perhaps the Persian force was smaller, 80,000, 60,000. But even conservative estimates put the dead in tens of thousands. And Greek casualties? Herodotus reports 159 total Greek dead. Later sources say perhaps a few thousand. The disparity is staggering, even accounting for ancient exaggerations. This wasn't a back-and-forth battle. This was systematic slaughter, beginning when the Persian line broke and continuing until there was almost no one left to kill. After the killing stops, the Greeks' inventory, the Persian camp. The treasure is enormous. Gold and silver ingots, payment for the army's wages. Personal wealth of Persian nobles who marched with Mardonius. Looted goods from Athens, Plataea, Thespia, and other plundered cities. Luxury items, jewels, precious fabrics, artwork. Pausanias orders everything collected and catalogued. 10% is set aside for the gods, to be dedicated at Delphi, Olympia, and other sacred sites. The rest is divided among Greek cities according to their army contributions. Spartans take the largest share. The Helots, the slave people who fought in the Greek army, receive nothing. Mardonius's personal tent is preserved intact. Pausanias has Mardonius's kitchen staff prepare a meal using his supplies, his golden tableware. Then he has a typical Spartan meal prepared beside it. He invites Greek commanders to view both meals side by side. Persian luxury, Spartan simplicity. The message is carefully crafted. Look what they brought to conquer us. Look what we defeated them with. But there's a darker subtext no one speaks aloud. Look what we did to take this. News of victory spreads across Greece the same day. Or so the legend says. The Greek navy wins a decisive victory at Mycale on the Asia Minor coast, destroying remnants of the Persian fleet and liberating Greek cities under Persian control. Whether the timing is accurate or mythologized doesn't matter. The strategic result is clear. The Persian invasion is over. Greece survived. But this is more than survival. The psychological and political landscape has shifted. Athens begins reconstruction, but not as before. Athenians aggressively fortify their city. They rebuild their navy into the largest fleet Greece has ever seen. The war taught them defense isn't enough. Sparta returns to the Peloponnese, but the memory of Plataea won't leave them. Spartans were always respected, feared for their military skill. Now there's something else in how other Greeks look at them. Greek poets write victory odes. Temples are built, monuments erected, but official commemorations omit certain details. Enemy dead count is celebrated. Victory's speed is praised. Tactical genius is analyzed. What happened inside the fortified camp after the walls came down is mentioned only in passing, if at all. A generation later, Herodotus' writing makes no moral judgment. He reports, "This many died, the camp was taken, wealth was divided." Plutarch, writing centuries later, is slightly more direct. He mentions that some Greeks questioned whether what happened after the battle was necessary, whether the scale of slaughter served any military purpose. The Persian survivors who crossed the Hellespont back carried a message to the empire. Greeks aren't just defending anymore. When they win, they erase everything. In purely military terms, Plataea achieved its objective completely. The Persian army in Greece was annihilated. The invasion ended. The threat eliminated. But a question echoes in historical records. Why so few survivors? Ancient battles, even decisive ones, typically ended with armies scattering and fleeing, and most survived the actual battle. 20 to 30% casualties were considered disastrous enough to break an army's will. 50% casualties were practically unheard of. At Plataea, the casualty rate exceeded 95%. This requires an explanation beyond Greeks simply winning. What made Plataea different wasn't the battle itself. It's what happened after the battle ended. The Persian line broke. Greeks pursued. This is normal warfare. But the pursuit didn't stop when Persians reached their camp. The siege didn't end with surrender offers or ransom negotiations. The walls breaching didn't lead to selective targeting of combatants. Every stage was pushed to maximum lethality. This indicates command-level decisions. Pausanias, Athenian generals, allied commanders. They shaped how victory was prosecuted, and they chose total annihilation. After Plataea, Greeks turned their attention to Thebes, the Greek city that allied with Persia. Pausanias demands Thebes surrender the leaders who organized the Persian alliance. Thebes refuses. The Greek army besieges the city for 20 days. Eventually, Thebes surrenders the accused leaders. Atigenos escapes, but his family is captured. Timogenidas and other oligarchs are handed over. Pausanias executes them all. The treatment of Thebes is instructive because it shows restraint Greeks were capable of showing. The city itself is spared. The population isn't massacred, only leadership is punished. This restraint was available at Plataea. Greeks could have shown it. They didn't. The Delian League, founded in the years after Plataea, an Athenian-led alliance of Greek cities, ostensibly for mutual defense against Persia. Within a generation, it transforms into an Athenian empire. Cities attempting to leave the League are besieged, conquered, their populations sometimes enslaved or killed. Sparta, watching Athens' expansion, grows concerned. The rivalry leads to the Peloponnesian War, a conflict that will devastate Greece for nearly 30 years, rooted in power dynamics established during the Persian Wars. The lesson of Plataea echoes in both. Victory isn't just about winning. It's about what you're willing to do with that victory. Modern accounts of Plataea focus on tactics, strategy, heroism. This isn't wrong. Those elements were present, but they tend to move seamlessly from Greeks won the battle to Greek cities were liberated, without pausing on the intermediate steps: the fortified camp, the breach, the hours that followed. This isn't because ancient sources are vague. Herodotus gives numbers. Other sources confirm. It's because we can't comfortably categorize what Plataea represents. This isn't a battle gone wrong. Greeks successfully executed their plan. It's not a war crime in modern terms. Ancient warfare had different conventions. It's something in between. The conscious choice to use victory as an instrument of annihilation. When Greeks erected a victory monument at Plataea, the inscription lists participating cities, honors the dead, celebrates victory. It doesn't mention the 100,000 dead Persians. It doesn't need to. Everyone who sees the monument knows. Every Greek city that sent forces knows what their soldiers did that day. Every Persian who hears the story knows what happened when the walls came down. The monument is both celebration and warning. This is what happens when you invade Greece. This is what happens when you burn Athens. This is what happens when you kill 300 Spartans at Thermopylae and think you've won. You didn't win. You just guaranteed what would come after. This script's title asks, how did 10,000 Spartans avenge the 300? The answer is complex. They didn't just defeat the Persian army, they erased it. They didn't just win a battle. They so completely annihilated an invasion force that Persia never again attempted a major invasion of mainland Greece. They didn't just take revenge. They ensured everyone who heard the story understood the price of killing Spartans was annihilation. But revenge in the ancient world wasn't clean or simple. It wasn't a Hollywood ending where good triumphs and everyone goes home satisfied. Plataea left questions even the victors couldn't fully answer. When does defense become annihilation? When does necessary force become systematic slaughter? When does revenge become something that disturbs even those who carry it out? Greeks won at Plataea. They secured their freedom, ended the invasion, and laid the foundation for what would become one of history's most influential civilizations. But that day in 479 BCE, they also did something that would echo through their own subsequent history. They learned what they were capable of when survival was no longer the only question. Thermopylae is remembered because it's comprehensible. Noble sacrifice, heroic resistance, glory in defeat. Plataea is harder to remember because it forces us to think about what comes after heroic sacrifice. It forces us to consider what kind of victory emerges when an entire civilization decides mercy is no longer an option. And it reminds us that history's most disturbing moments aren't always defeats, sometimes they're victories.